Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show. I'm so glad you're here today, and we've got some things that are coming up that they're going to be fun and exciting and new, and you're going to just enjoy. But before I do that, let me tell you about a couple of things that I have coming up at Landers Photography School. We have Photo 101 coming up here pretty soon. In fact, I'd like for you to go to landersphotoschool.com to check that out to see exactly when that's going to be, because that is coming up soon. That is in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks from now. I think maybe exactly 2 weeks from now is when Photo 101 starts. And this is a different Photo 1 than you're probably used to. I have seen a lot of different places say that they have a Photo 101 class, and that's fine. They can all call it whatever they want. I doubt that there's anything as complete as this. I have a degree in photography, and so I definitely know what I'm talking about, plus 30 years of experience. And I've taught over 4,000 people this particular class. But it takes me, it's a 12-hour class. It's 6 2-hour sessions. A lot of Photo 101s you'll find are 1 hour or 2 hours, not 12. So this is a totally different thing, and we're doing it in a different way. We're going to do each one of them as a field trip. So we're not meeting at one place, sitting down and listening to a lecture. We're going somewhere different each time. So this is for just those of you who are watching from in San Antonio, Texas, or are willing to travel, but really just those who are in or near San Antonio. So go to landersphotoschool.com, click on classes, and find Photo 101 for more information. And for those who are more interested on the business side, which is probably everyone here watching this show, I have something I will really want you to pay attention to. This is my E3 class. There's been several who have taken this class before. This is in person before when I had a physical school. Now I do this online via Zoom. But I want you to look into the E3 price list and sales system. This has been the major change for several photography businesses, because of what is included, because of what we're doing here. But this it helps you get the perfect price list. It shows you how to convey that to your clients in a way that causes them to be okay with it. In fact, to be good with it. That doesn't mean they never complain about price, but it changes from a complaint about price to more of a you are worth it. It's going to cost me a lot, I get it, but you're worth it. This is what happens when you convey your prices well. And then a total sales system built around what it is that you do. It's customized for what you are doing, what you're trying to convey. Of course, first we have to define what that is. Some people already know, very clear on it. Others could use some help in that category. This course is 9 2-hour sessions. It's an 18-hour course that will change your career. Again, go to landersphotoschool.com and click on E3. Click on classes and then E3. Now, we have Amanda is here with us today, and so I'm going to bring Amanda on. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. We got past two big events the last 2 weekends, so I'm glad to have those done with. Had
I
a lot of fun.
bet. I bet. So you seem to enjoy putting events on and doing things that uplift creatives, but I bet it drains you of energy temporarily because of all the effort you put into it. What kind of effort goes into putting on these big events?
Um, Really, it's logistically a lot. There's everything from, who's our target market that we're wanting to really bring to these events. How are we helping our community? How is that community coming closer together? If you were there at Shop the Block 2 weeks ago, it's getting vendors together, encouraging them and being supportive. Also food trucks, and we had a tap truck, which was a big hit as well.
That
Something that
was.
was a little bit different, and DJ and all that good stuff. And it's basically like planning a wedding, if y'all remember what that's like. And all the hard details really don't come until that very last week, and it's a little stressful, but we love doing it. We love seeing everybody come together, and and they really enjoy it. And we get to meet people in person. I know I've done over the last 2 years a lot of social media communication with our clients as they were kind of a little bit more hesitant to come out in public, obviously. But now that everybody is slowly kind of getting back to normal, now I'm having to put Instagram handle to people's faces, and that I think is really important because sometimes people come up to me and say, "Hey, man, oh yeah, how's the dog? How's this? How's that?" I'm like, "I everything's great. I don't know who you are." And then they tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm so and so on Instagram," and I'm like, "Oh my god, we're like best friends." So I think that's a lot of what some of these events are is just getting to know each other in
Yeah.
person, letting them know that we're here, come to the store or come to an event. I know I've said it in the past, a lot of people are a little bit reluctant or sometimes intimidated to come into Digital Pro Lab. So, like, well, that's a professional lab. I don't know if I'm ready to really learn, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and this and that. Really, we're all about education. You have to
Hmm.
make the effort to come in to talk with us. Every single one of my staff is, including me, is, we're all very approachable, and we want to help educate you. We want to be creative with you. We want to encourage you. Those are all the things that you do once you step into the store or phone me or Instagram me or whatever. That's my goal, and that's why we put on a lot of those events. And then we were out at Southwest School of Art this past weekend. We did a photo booth, and we were kind of teaching people about green screen and the process at their Fiesta Arts Fair, and
Nice.
donating prints so that they can take something away. So, like, little things like that. We really enjoy doing that.
Well, we sure appreciate it. That Shop the Block party was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed getting to spend just a moment with Isla. She's so cute.
After that event, I had to shave her because she kept sitting down on the asphalt, and her little bum was just
Oh
all
no,
black from asphalt. So I had to shave her down. But
poor
she looks
baby.
super cute. Just as cute as she did before, just a little bit more shroom.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, she's very calm and she seems to love everyone, so
yeah.
she seemed to enjoy it.
She's our
My
breeder,
my dog would not have. I would not have been describing him the same way.
furry guy.
So, uh, did you have anything that you wanted to share before we got started with today's topic?
I think I'll wait till the end and I'll share, obviously the promo code that I like to have for everybody. I've got a good one. I want everybody to try it if they haven't already. So stay tuned to the tail end, and I'll go ahead and give that out.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Amanda,
Yep,
and
thank
we'll
you.
see you back here in just a little while.
Sounds good.
Whew, man, all the great stuff that Amanda and her team at Digital Pro Lab are doing for us as creatives. So I definitely encourage when you hear about what's going on with them, uh, different events that they have, put it on your calendar. Because they do a great job. They definitely care about us as creatives and uplifting us. And so supporting them is to our benefit. We're not just being there to support them. It helps us as well. So it's a mutually beneficial thing, a win-win scenario, like you guys know I like to say. And before I move into today's topic of the 4 steps to effective speaking, I want to encourage you to leave a comment. Ask a question. I want you to do that. If you're here with me live, will you do me a favor and put hashtag live? That way, when I go back and I look, I can tell that you're there. Also, you can see scrolling across the bottom right now. This is how I'm able to see you. If in the post, the text part of the Facebook post, if you're on YouTube, you won't be able to do it the same way. But on those of you who are watching via Facebook, those of you who are watching live via Facebook, there is a link down at the bottom that allows me to see you when you make a comment. It causes me to be able to see your name and the photograph that you have associated with your Facebook profile. And again, for those of you who are watching live, comment hashtag live for me. That way I know that you're here. and click on that link. It's to StreamYard. It's just giving them permission to give me in the information. We use StreamYard as the platform for sharing this live stream, and so I can see what it is that you're sharing. So thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Wesley. Glad you're here. Oh, by the way, if you want to remain anonymous, don't click on that link because I'll know who you are. So I don't know who the Facebook user is, but I am so glad you're here. Again, I want you to hashtag live in the comments if you're watching live. If you're watching the replay, for those of you who are watching this in the future from as I'm speaking right now, I want you to enter hashtag replay. That way I can see that you're watching the replay and I can react to that when I see it. But again, for those who are watching live, thanks, Miguel. Put in hashtag live. That way I know you're here watching us live. Ooh, Florette. Hi, Florette. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad all of you are here, but Florette is a past student and friend that we haven't seen in a little while, but we sure do appreciate her. Both Robin and I just think she's fantastic. So thank you for being here, Florette. Oh, speaking of Robin, hi, Robin. I'm glad you're here too. And Florette, I think, is saying hi to you, Robin. All right. So before I get into today's topic, I want to invite you to two things that are free, totally free. And those two things are Lunch with Landers, and that is what you're seeing here is the address to it. Lunch with Landers, calendly.com/photoschool /lunch-with-landers. By the way, when you're watching the replay, just hit pause while you're watching and you can write that down. But I'm leaving that up there just long enough for you to write it down. If you've got your paper or pen handy, then take note of that and write that down. And I will real quick put that, and temporarily I have to turn that off when I do it, but I'm going to put that in the comments. So look in your comments and you'll see the link. Just click on that link and you can choose the Tuesday. I take a photographer with me to lunch every single Tuesday. All you have to do is click the link and tell me which one you want and show up. We have lunch at the Dominion Country Club. So in case you were wondering where we were going to eat, I know you don't need to wear your tux. Somebody actually asked me that question. Most of us don't have tuxes. I do, but I mean, I've been a photographer for a long time. And while there's not a whole lot of formal events that go on now, there used to be. You know, when I started 30 years ago, I was probably maybe up to 10 times that I would be wearing a tux. And so I just bought one. And I just bought another one less than a year ago, and I've only worn it once. So I want an opportunity to wear it. So that's Lunch with Landers. And let's take that banner down temporarily. Oh, I can see a few more of you have said you're here. So Michael Giordano, how you doing? Glad you're here. And let's see, John Franklin. John, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing great. Again, what you're seeing is the post on the Facebook newsfeed. And so if you're here watching live, I want you to hit that hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. That's for those who are watching in the future. But for those who are here now, hashtag live. That way I know you're here. All right. And I said there were two things that I'm doing for free. One was Lunch with Landers. The second one is this one right here, a business assessment consultation. This is where the two of us get together via Zoom and we talk about what you're doing for your business and what you want for your future. It could be going over your price list. It could be going over your marketing. It's anything on the business side, and this really is geared towards portrait photographers. So those of you who photograph landscapes and nature, this really isn't the thing for you. I'm happy to spend some time visiting with you, but that's not really geared for you. This is geared for the portrait photographers who want to earn some income, real income, doing what they love. Not just a little bit of extra side money, not just, breaking even. Those who actually who see this as a career, this is more for you. So, the business assessment consultation, and let me put that one also into the comments section so that you can just click the link. There you go. Okay, so it should be out to each one of those. Um, hey, Jero, glad you're here. Jero's going to be in that Photo 101 class coming up. He's already signed up for it. So glad you're here. Another Facebook user. Thanks for telling me that you're here live by hitting #live. Good. All right. So we are here today to talk about the 4 steps to effective speaking. Now, I'm going to share a little bit about myself because I might come across as someone who can stand up in front of people and talk. And while I can, I'm not a natural at it. I've had to do some things in order to make that happen. So I'm going to share that with you today. I want to encourage you to leave a comment. I want to encourage you to leave to ask a question. And if it's appropriate to the subject, I'm going to answer that live while we're talking right now. If you're watching the replay, feel free to do that too. I still get that message. It just might take me a little longer to get to it. But I definitely encourage you to let us know with your comments and your questions what you're thinking about. So let's move into this first section. By the way, I have handouts for every single one of these shows. These shows are every single Monday. Now, on the second Monday of each month, we move that time to 6:30 in the evening, and we have a panel of photographers who are talking, or a panel of people, it may not necessarily be photographers, who are sharing their opinions. We ask each one of them questions, and they answer the same question so that we can get a different point of view. That's the second Monday of every single month at 6:30. And that one, there's not a handout, but there's a handout for every single one of those. And the handout is for those who are taking my classes. If you're not taking my classes, I don't really have a way to give it to you. And so there's certain things like my career photographer program. If they want the handouts to these, they get the handouts. But for the rest of you, I want you to just take good notes. I think you can handle that. So for too many of us, speaking and presenting is overwhelming and it's stressful. At least it has been for me. Speaking on the phone is a lot for some of us. I know. If you have seen me speak, I don't usually look like I'm stressed. And there's a reason for that. I have a method that calms me down just enough. Now, it started many years ago when I recognized that, just like many others, I did not like speaking in front of my class. In high school and in middle school, I didn't like getting up and speaking in front of the class. Others were naturals. They didn't have any trouble at all. So slowly, beginning in high school, I consciously began to take opportunities to become better. That doesn't mean it was easy. It just means I recognized the problem and I chose to be a solution seeker. That's all it means. It doesn't mean I was good at finding a solution. Took a while. But Here's an example. I'm going to give you several of them. After football practice, I would go to, so immediately after school, football practice started. And then those who were in the in drama that were doing plays, they would have their practice, which would be approximately right after football practice. It just worked out that way. They didn't plan it that way. But after football practice, I would hang out in the theater because my girlfriend at the time had the lead female role, and I liked watching them practice. Uh, by the way, that person that I was dating at that time went on to become Miss San Antonio Teen 1986. That's pretty cool for her, and I thought it was pretty cool for me too. So after about 3 weeks into the first year, now this was my junior year. After about 3 weeks into the grading period, into the beginning of that school year, a role opened up in the play because, well, you've probably heard of no pass, no play. Well, a couple of people didn't pass, so therefore, no play for them. Well, there I am, just sitting there, unaware, when the drama department head, they called him Coach, I called him Mr. Buchanan, asked me to take on a role. Sure, happy to help. Here's another example. When my church decided to put on a play, oh man, I accepted the role where I had a solo. I sang. I assume you guys know what I mean by solo. Jeez, I can barely believe that I actually did that. But I'm proud that I did. I'm proud that I said yes to those opportunities, that I didn't back away from them. I'm not saying that I always did. I didn't. I, a lot of times, backed off from them. But I'm proud of the times that I did. I'm glad that I put myself in those tough situations. About that same time in high school, I worked at a local grocery store as a bagger. When they asked for a volunteer to go to a training class on how to use plastic bags, yeah, I'm that age. They had always used paper bags up until that point. I volunteered. And I knew that when I came back, I was going to have to be the person who trained everyone else. So standing up in front of a group again. By the way, they didn't call us baggers. We had a really cool title. We were courtesy clerks. Anyway, another story. In college, I joined a group called the Program Council. Now, this was a school-sanctioned group. We had a budget. We were given a budget by the school of over $100,000. And we brought in events. We brought in talent. We brought in lots of different things. So we were responsible for movies at the university theater, which held about 200 or 300 people. So I got up before each movie and shared activities that were coming up in the coming week. So again, an opportunity to talk in front of a group. I accepted that. I wasn't comfortable by any means. Now, they may have thought I was, but it was difficult for me. But I believed that if I put myself in that situation, it's going to become easier. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But I got up and spoke for the organization to introduce the talent. People such as, have you guys heard of Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist and comedian? I have introed him. And have you heard of Adam West, the first Batman? I've done his introduction. How about there was a movie back in the must have been late 80s, or maybe his middle 80s, I don't know, but called Good Morning Vietnam. It was written about Adrian Cronauer, and I introduced him when we had him at the school. Have you heard of the band Georgia Satellites? Again, so there's others, but I'll stop there. The point is, I would never have met those people had I not stood up and said, yes, I will accept something that is uncomfortable for me. I'm not saying, I didn't say those words, but I accepted something that was uncomfortable for me. And many more over the years. If I weren't pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, I would never have been had an opportunity to meet so many wonderful, interesting people over the years. I wish that I could tell you that my anxiety went away because it really didn't seem to change that much. But I felt like all of these things would cure my speaking anxiety, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So since then, I have spoken to individuals, small groups, one group that was in excess of 2,000 people, and since 1997, I've spoken to as many as I've spoken to groups as many as 3 times a day, and up to for between 2 and 8 in my own classroom. Now, I've since closed my classroom. The Landish Photography School existed as a physical school for 17 years, and COVID decided I didn't need that, and I should just put all my stuff online. So here we are today. So I might, to some degree, to some of you, come across as a natural, that I can just talk, but it isn't the case. Speaking is difficult. Many times I feel the way you feel that anxiety sometimes shows up in more than just a thought in your head. It shows up as physical, and depending on the situation, I will sometimes have just sweat just dripping down my back. I'll have difficulty talking to people in social situations. There's some people that I won't go up to and talk to because I just am dealing with that anxiety. But I do try to put myself in a position where I am forced to do it. That way I can continue to become better at it. And I do come across, at least that's the goal, of coming across as a natural, that I don't have any problem talking in front of people. But I do. I still get anxiety. But there is a big difference. I've developed systems. By the way, in your business, you should develop systems. Anything that you need improvement on, that you want to make better, create a system around it. I wanted to become better at speaking, at talking, at conveying a message. I had the message in my head. I just didn't know what words to use, how to say it. I would ask that question all the time of people. When I started off being a photographer, I would talk with people and say, well, how do you tell them something? What words do you actually use? And I found that what they told me was not very helpful. I mean, it was helpful as far as it came from their heart, but it didn't help me to actually accomplish anything. It didn't change anything. So I came up with systems. These systems help ease my own personal emotions, which I feel is pretty darn valuable. It calms me down to the point where unless you knew me, you wouldn't know that I was shaking, that my hands were cold, that I'm feeling just slightly nauseous, lightheaded, and as I said before, sweat pouring down my back. I wear an undershirt to help with that. So if my process for reducing my irrational, overly strong emotions can help just one of you, then taking the time to write down my thoughts and organizing them so that others might benefit will have been worth all the effort of continuing to push myself outside of the comfort zone. Now, I don't claim this will end your anxiety. I don't even claim that it's going to work for you. My only claim is that it helps me, and my hope is that at least maybe just one small part of what I share today is beneficial to you. If you come across something today that I'm sharing, hashtag it. Hashtag whatever it is that you, just one word, to let me know that is something that meant something to you. It touched you. It made it. You understood it. You were able to grab onto it. Speaking with clients is a major part of a photography business. I think we know it. Doing it well grows your confidence, and it also grows the confidence of your clients. What a cool side effect. I mean, if you don't have the words to share, someone asks you a question and you're not prepared with some type of intelligent response, does their confidence in you soar? Of course not. Now, we don't just start speaking with speaking. We start with building, we start like we build a house. We start with planning. It's not just the message itself, but also the way you deliver the message that's going to impact your audience. So let's talk about the title today, the 4 steps of effective speaking to build your confidence and that of your clients. Now, I've added that on because that's important, because that's our goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So the 4 steps to effective speaking and our goal to build your confidence and that of your clients. Now, I'm writing this. There's a lot of ways I could write this or share this. And each one of you has different things that you're going to use it for. I'm writing this one specifically with the thought in mind that you may be asked to speak. So I'm taking this one step further than just talking to someone about what it is that you do. That's included in this. But I'm taking it one step further. What if someone asked you to speak? Because with that increased level of confidence and people seeing that in you and being confident in you, you will be asked to speak. It just happens. And it's kind of cool when it happens. It makes you feel good. It makes you, I love this. But it still makes you uncomfortable. So, because of this confidence that you're going to have, because you're able to speak, you will come across as the expert in your field to the people you're talking to. Wow, that's a fantastic thing. So this topic wasn't written to help you improve your PowerPoint presentation or your slides. It's just the words that you use in conversation, the order you use them, the body language you're using, and the overall message of the presentation. So, number 1, make sure you guys get your pen and paper out. Number 1, mindset and brainstorming. Again, there's 4 total of these, and I'll tell you real quick what the other 2 are. Other 3. Planning and preparation is number 2, and we'll get to these. Don't need to rush to write those down. Practice and evaluation is number 3, and number 4 is the presentation. So, mindset and brainstorming. Number 1, things to consider and ways to improve. Make sure you have a clear message well ahead of time. I mean, you really need to have a clear message of what it is that you do before you even start your business. But most of us don't start that way. We start with excitement. We start with trying something out, dipping our toes into the water or jumping all the way in. But we generally don't start off where we should be starting off with, and that's a strong foundation. The strong foundation to your speaking is knowing what it is you're trying to convey very clearly. Having thought about it, written down different variables and considerations. A mission statement, a specific target market, goals, timelines. Specific would be, what specific thing will you be speaking about and to whom? Because we definitely are going to cater our message to who it is we're speaking to. Now, that doesn't mean we say one thing to one person and another thing to another. That's for politicians, not for photographers. I know not all politicians are that way, but you understand what I'm saying. Here's an action item, a self-assignment, something I want you to do. I want you to record yourself talking for the purpose of listening to that recording. Record yourself talking. I've got more assignments, but this is the first one. It could be a phone call. It could be an in-person conversation. It could be a Zoom call. Whatever it is, record yourself speaking when you're trying to convey something. And then analyze it. Did I get my message across? Could I have done it better? That's the second thing, is to critique. Listen to your recording, critique it. Do you have any run-on sentences. How's your speed? Are you saying in the middle of your sentence? Are you repeating, repeating words? Are you up talking? That one really bothers me. Ending every single sentence with a. Are you monotone? I mean, think Ferris Bueller's teacher. Bueller. Bueller. Be sure that you're not trailing off or mumbling the end of a sentence. Are you fully pronouncing each syllable and making sure that your emphasis is on the correct syllable? Now I want you to do this. Here's the third self assignment for this first section. I want you to listen to speakers. Now, you've done this before. You maybe through a podcast, maybe a TV host, a radio show. But I want you to listen to them as you, just like you critiqued yourself. How are they saying what they're saying? What is it that they're saying? Could they have said it in fewer words? Was it not enough words to convey the message? Were they monotone? Did they upspeak? Next, number 2, planning and preparation. Before you begin writing, I thought you said this was talking. Even though you're going to be speaking this, you have to start off by writing it. I want you to have your mission statement, your vision statement, your value statement, your target market, your goals, your timelines. I want you to make sure that those are right here in your working environment. Because every one of us views life and makes decisions by a personal, invisible filter. And it's different for every single one of us. That's why two people looking at the same exact thing could describe it differently or receive a different piece of the information. We have filters. So I want to make sure that your filter, as you're preparing, is your filter. It's your best filter. It's everything you want to consider. So you've heard me say probably many times, put these things right here around your workspace. Your mission statement, your vision statement, your value statement. For those of you who are taking some of my classes, I want you to add in a positioning statement there too. Your target market, goals, timelines, those things right here in front of you so that you're constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. I want you to define what you want to happen as an end result. Maybe your goal is to simply engage and influence them to act on whatever it is you have to say. But I want you to be very specific. Define what you want to happen as an end result. What do you want them to get from this? What do you want them to receive? Make a list of what you want to cover in your presentation. That's the next one. Make a list of what you want to cover as you're speaking. Now, depending on if you're going to be doing something that's long, you're going to have a lot of things you want to cover. If you're trying to get just one small point across, it may be very few. But make a list of what you want to cover during your presentation. Next one. Organize your list into an order that seems to flow well. Put it in order. Organize it. When you're doing the brainstorming, don't organize. That throws off your brainstorming. But once you've done brainstorming, you can't think of anything else that you need to cover. That's when you move into organizing. Put it in some order that you feel is going to flow well. And then I want you to write it out Once you've written it all out, I want you to say it out loud. Say it out loud. When you say what you've written out loud, you start noticing some areas where you could improve. And so tweak it. Make it ideal. Record it and critique it so that you can fine tune it and make it better. Next, I want you to think about the place where you're going to give this presentation. Again, this is if and only if this is going to wind up being a presentation. But if it is, I want to include that in today's message. Think about the place where you're going to give the presentation. Will this environment help you reach your goals? If not, is there something that you can prepare to help make it as good as it can possibly be? Will you need any equipment? A projector, screen, laptop, laser pointer, remote? How about extension cords, power strip? What things are we going to need to do this? Sometimes it's nothing. It's just us showing up. I did a presentation about 2 weeks ago where I showed up with just me and one box of some old cameras. And I shared the old cameras, and they loved the old cameras. But that was a presentation I did at an elementary school. But I think any age group would think that was fantastic. They would love that. So here are the parts. You have, if you're doing a presentation, you have a pre-intro. This is what you do before you get to the presentation, before the intro. This may be talking to people ahead of time. If you're talking to a group of people, you may have certain people you are going to talk to ahead of time. Like, have you guys heard of John Damon? He's on Shark Tank. And when I met him, this was about 9 years ago. It was by chance. It wasn't by design. I didn't call and say, "Can I get an appointment? I've got some questions for you." It didn't happen that way. He was going to be speaking at an event that I was attending, and it was a big event. There's probably, I'm sure he's spoken to much larger groups, but this was a good-sized group. There's 1,500 people in this large room. And when he came out, he was ready to go, but they weren't ready for him yet. This didn't go according to plan. It doesn't really cause any problems, but I was seated in the front row, real close to the edge, to the side. And when he came out, he was standing right in front of me. And so I could observe, and we spoke two sentences. It was nothing. He wouldn't remember me. At least I can't imagine, unless he's got a photographic memory. But he was mentally prepared to go out, but it wasn't happening. So what kind of things should you do in as far as preparing? What happens before? Think about that. That's just a short story. The next section is your intro. What will you say to introduce what it is you're going to say? Some kind of a hook to draw people in, to cause them to want to stick around. What is your intro? And then the body of your message, the outro, and then any post thing that's going to happen. This could be, if you're on stage, what happens after you're on stage. But again, most of us won't experience the stage part of it, but still we have the same flow. No matter whether you're speaking to 1,500 people or you're speaking to 2, you have a flow that goes with this, and you should plan it out ahead of time. Let's talk about those parts real quick. Excuse me. There are 2 things that you need to do before you begin. They may be the same every time, or they may be different every time. So plan for what you might expect. So number 1, what do you do mentally to prepare yourself, to psych yourself up? What do you do? For me, the music that plays before this show, I kind of dance to it. Now, my form of dancing is more like the groundhog in the movie Caddyshack. So my dancing, sitting here in my chair is nothing, you wouldn't want to see it. But I'm getting myself ready. I'm excited about this. And so that's one of the things I do to prepare for this, but I prepare differently for different things. Number 2 is Visit with those who you're going to be speaking to. Get to know them. If there is an opportunity to visit with the group of people you're going to be speaking to ahead of time, maybe there's a social ahead of time, get to know some names and then plan on using them in your presentation. Get to know who they are, what it is that they do, so you can customize what you say to the group you're speaking with. That's pre-intro. Now let's talk about the intro. I want you to either stand up or sit up straight. Tell some story to gain some interest. Of course, it's got to be related to what you're talking about. You may tell several stories throughout. State the purpose of your presentation. If they don't know you already, state who you are. I didn't do that on this. I do that every single time. State who I am and what this is all about. I didn't do that today. Wow. That just came to me. The time I'm talking about it is the time I don't do it. Of course. Tell them that you tell them what you hope to gain as a result and what they can gain as a result. This needs to be a win-win. Enter everything as a win-win and share the wins. Tell people what it is you're trying to accomplish, what you want, and how you can help them get what they want. And then what do you want them to do next? State how long it's going to take if it's not something that's obvious, and give them a moment of time so that the information you've shared has the ability to sink in. Kind of like when you share your prices, there are certain things that you say during a sales presentation that you need to be silent after. And too many of us just keep on talking. We could talk them out of a sale by doing that. We need to be silent sometimes. It may be an awkward silence. That's true. But we have to do it. Now, I want you to assume positive, not negative. What does that mean? When we're doing a sales presentation, sometimes we're thinking, man, they're going to think this price is too high. Or they're not going to like my work. Or there's something negative. If you're thinking negative, your mind is not where it needs to be in order to do a good job of presenting and conveying your information. Assume positive until you've got some other reason to not assume that. They are spending time with you after all. Even when you feel like you're being misunderstood, disrespected, or whatever, spread positive attention through compliments and acknowledging their interests, their goals. I want you to redirect attention to those who are not involving themselves in a social group. So if this is a group and someone's not being included or they seem to not be paying attention, redirect attention. Get their attention. Now, the body of your message. Prove your point. Your goal is to exude confidence. You want to answer questions. If you've got visuals, you need to show those. Help them help your target market or the people you're talking to get the message in whatever way you can. Now, the close. Here's a reminder. State what they have just learned in a way that draws everything together and leaves a positive and lasting impression. This could be a summary of your main points or a conclusion that is obviously drawn from your main points. And then a parting statement. For branding purposes, you may choose to have the same outro every time. This statement needs to be memorable. It needs to connect your target market emotionally so that you end with an emotional hook. And then post. What do you do when it's over? Many times that's simple. Sometimes you just leave, and other times there's question and answers afterwards. But think about what is going to happen and prepare for that. Number 3, practice and evaluation. These next 2 parts are short, by the way. I want you to go through the entire presentation aloud. Tweak it as you go. This is while you're planning. When you feel it's pretty good, take out your phone, put it on video, and record it. Reevaluate, critique, fine tune even further. By the way, if you're doing a speaking engagement, you're speaking to a group, it's a performance. Practice makes perfect. You're on stage. You're in the spotlight. Does the presentation meet your stated objectives? Is it in a logical order? Is it easy to follow? Is it the right length? Is it too long? Is it too short? Have you considered your target market? Your target audience, you may prefer to say. Is it presented in a way that they would appreciate it most, the most ideal way? Will they understand? Are you talking down to them? Would it help to make any vocabulary changes? How is your body language, your posture? Again, you're reevaluating. You're looking at the recording. How is your posture? Did you look comfortable? Did you look like you knew what you were talking about? How was your stage presence? Did you seem confident? Did you maintain good eye contact? How was your volume, your speed, your inflections? Some will find it helpful to present in front of family or friends. Having an audience changes the dynamic. Absolutely does. Ask them for a critique. Here's some extra credit for yourself. Prepare an evaluation form. Give it to them before they begin so they can read what's on it, and ask them to put it down until after the presentation. Here's another extra credit. Rehearse with distractions, because you're going to have them. Turn on the TV, the radio. Do it while the dog is barking. If you can do it while you are experiencing distractions, you've got this. All right, some general thoughts. Something to drink. Do you need water? I do. Something to drink just in case I get dry mouth or I start to cough. For some, a warm drink may be beneficial. My sister likes a warmer drink. Some have told me that relaxes their throat, but I just like to have water. And then, of course, dressing appropriately. What will they be wearing? Choose something similar. Exception, if your clothing is part of your branding, then that's what you do. Otherwise, dress like the guest that you're going to be speaking with. And then the last thing, the presentation. General information about the presentation. Get there early and set the room. All materials, water, tools, computer, microphone, tables, chairs, etc. Where do you want them? Backup plan in place just in case, but know your environment. Be familiar with where you're at. Don't go in cold. Visit with guests if you have an opportunity to do so. Find out who they are. Maybe something you can learn, use in your presentation. And then leave the room prior to your presentation. Get a breath of fresh air. Go use the restroom. Or just wash your hands. Wash your face. Maybe you don't want to wash your face. Guys, maybe. Women, that may not be good advice. When it is time to enter that room, enter with the appropriate amount of energy and enthusiasm. And appropriate meaning knowing your audience, knowing the environment. Pay attention to staying on the topic. Pay attention to staying on time. I have trouble with that one. If appropriate, move around. Damon John, when I mentioned him a little while ago, when he was on the stage, he was never still. And it was kind of distracting watching him move because he would go full as fast as he could possibly walk to one corner of the stage and stay there for just a few moments and then walk as fast as he could to the other side of the stage. Stay for a few moments, walk back to, I mean, this happened the entire time he was talking. It never changed. Occasionally he'd stop in the middle for a moment, but that wasn't his MO. That wasn't his normal thing. It was, I mean, it was distracting how much movement he had. So we don't want to overdo that. And I would say he did. I don't know that he still does. That was 9 years ago. And so make an effort to make eye contact with every single person in the room. Now, if there's a huge number, that's not possible. But if it's a small number, make, in your mind, focus on every single face just for a moment without making anyone feel that you're spending more time looking at them than anyone else. That might be weird. And then answer any questions you have with grace and appreciation, even if they just ask something that you just finished explaining. You guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, I switched to the presentation and didn't change that on the screen. General thoughts. Be yourself. Maybe the enhanced version of yourself, but be yourself. Be you. Authentic, articulate, on top of it. Confident, kind, warm. However you describe you, be that. Audience comments, negative or perceived that way, never tear down a fence until you understand why it was built. There are times when someone asks a question and you feel like it's a personal attack. But I guarantee you, you might be wrong. So just assume that there are no personal attacks. Until you know for sure, of course. Assume they just didn't answer the question. They didn't ask the question very well. That they have positive intent. So that goes back to my quote, never tear down a fence until you understand why it was built. Make sure you understand before you respond. You might have to research before you respond. It's okay to say, I don't know. I'll get back with you tomorrow by 5. Be specific with when you'll get back to them. And then write it down afterwards, or at that point in time if you can, to make sure you don't forget. This, when you're making a presentation, especially when you're talking about your own business, you're talking with someone about your pricing, you're talking with them about something that you do, or maybe something you don't do, but you could because they've asked. This isn't the time for assuming. This isn't the time for guessing. It's okay to say, I'll get back with you. Now, audience comments when they're positive. You're gracious. You have humble acceptance. When they give you a compliment, accept it. Don't turn it away. They're giving you a gift. Receive it. Accept that gift. Closing remarks. When you come into a speaking engagement prepared, with all the processes stated in this lesson, you cannot help but go into a presentation with confidence. You still, most likely, if you're anything like me, will still feel anxiety. But the confidence of having planned a solid presentation is going to power you through. This process that I've shared with you today, it calms me, at least enough. And I believe that at least some part of it is going to be beneficial to you as well. I still get anxiety, but now there's a big difference. The steps in this system ease my emotions and calm me just enough that the audience is unlikely to notice my anxiety. I am probably shaking. I probably have cold hands. I might be a little bit nauseous. I may be a little bit lightheaded, and likely feeling the sweat pouring down my back like a waterfall. But if my process for reducing my irrational, overly strong emotions can help you, then taking the time to write down these thoughts and organizing them so that you might benefit has been worth the effort of continuing to push myself out of my comfort zone. I wish I knew how to put an end to anxiety. But as creatives, we care. And that is what makes us unique and keeps us growing in the passion for our art. I want to thank you for listening to this message today. I want to thank you for doing everything you can to grow on the business side of photography. Because as you grow, you are by default uplifting others as well. I'm going to bring Amanda back on. Amanda, how do you feel about all that?
Public speaking. It's definitely terrifying. It always has been. Same as you. You know, there's a lot of anxieties that happen. Unfortunately for me, my motto has always been, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So I see those as moments to overcome. And the one thing that I do love is actually teaching. So the types of speaking engagements that I like to do are education based, because it's something that I feel confident that I can speak on, or it's something that I really want to learn. So I'm going to do my due diligence to learn so that I can teach in a way that people would understand. I don't know about a lot of y'all, but I'm not the most technical teacher. If I were to teach a photo 101 class, I might approach it a little bit differently, because I personally learn I'm more visual, I'm more hands-on. So that's typically how I'm going to teach. I'm not going to use high vocabulary. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more approachable. So that's the kind of person that I am when I speak, when I teach, and it's because I know myself well, and I'm putting myself in situations to develop that skill, that language, that the brand as a teacher, the technique. And if you're looking to speak and engage with students, or do a speaking engagement to a group of people, then putting yourself in other situations, even less stressful situations at first, might be the best route. But always try to do something like that. And I know Jim and I have been actively looking for photographers to speak at our panel discussions that we have every month. And that's a great opportunity for you to have a relaxed moment to be able to speak to your community and speak amongst other peers and with us about what you're confident and what you know and understand. And you have another perspective that I think is important. So that's an opportunity as well. And we've got one coming up, huh?
That's right. The next this coming Monday is the second Monday of the month, so I hope you guys have on your calendar that it's at 6:30, not at noon. We moved just that one. All the rest are at noon on Mondays, but that one we move to the evening, and we do something different, something special. We bring in three panelists to answer questions, so you can hear from more than one point of view. And this one coming up is about in-person communication, about presentations. It's about speaking in front of people. And there's a lot of ways in which we do that, but there's not a single one of us that gets away with not doing that at all. And so that's why we want to have these three panelists on, but we don't have the three panelists yet, and so we are currently looking for those. So if you want to volunteer to be a panelist at some point, maybe not this very next one, but if you would like to be a panelist, just reach out to either one of us. My email is jim@landersphotoschool.com. jim@landersphotoschool.com. Just reach out, let me know. I'd like to be a panelist at some point.
Yeah, or you can email Amanda@digitalprolab.com.
Perfect. And do you have something special for us today?
I do. Let's see if I can find this banner that I created. All right, here we go. So we do a lot of things, as y'all well know, here at Digital Pro Lab. Lots of different types of printing. One of the other less known types of printing that we do is we do some press printing. We do what we call short run press printing. So if you're used to getting 5,000 business cards, that's not necessarily what we specialize in. If you need 100 business cards or 500 business cards, that's what we call short run printing. And as part of our short run printing that we do, we also do soft cover books. So if you're looking for an affordable product that you can offer your clients or even use as a portfolio for yourself, a soft cover book is actually a really, really nice book. Let me show you. So there's a side of it, front, back, and then it opens just like, hold on, I gotta get used to this. Just like a standard coffee table book. It's got magazine stock. It's a little bit thicker than magazine stock, but you can see there's one example of that. Here's another one that we did with a client of ours. And same stuff. And you can do full page, you can do individual images, you can do multi-images on those. So what we're doing for our promotion today is, or for the rest of the week all the way through to Sunday, is 30% off of a soft cover book. It's 20 page, so that's 40 sides. So again, that makes a really great item to present your client if they're doing multiple images from a shoot and you want to give them something a little bit different. The other thing that you can do is, again, use it as a portfolio book that you can take with you to show off some of your own artwork or your own portrait sessions. And those are really great. Like I said, they're affordable. They look very nice, and then they also come in larger capacities. So if you really like and enjoy that album, then there's thicker ones that we obviously do as well. So I wanted to make sure that we highlight that. But yeah, 30% off of soft cover book, 20 page for 40 side. At least until this Sunday. So start culling your images and come up with a really great book that you can share with your customers or that you can gift somebody.
That is nice. I really like that book. And 30% off. Yeah, I would assume you're going to have some people who are going to take advantage of that one. Do you guys agree? Is that a nice book? If you agreed, let her know in the comments. Give her a love or a like, or put hashtag Digital Pro Lab. Something that says that you heard the message. If you're watching live, you heard me say this early on. If you're watching live, hit hashtag live, so I know you're here. If you're watching this in what is for me and Amanda the future, then you're going to be watching the replay. So hit hashtag replay if you're watching that. But write this down: soft cover 20. So that means for a 20-page book, soft cover 20, and you get 30% off.
Yeah.
That's a good deal,
And
and that's a cool book.
I did see Jero said that he didn't know we did business cards. So on the topic of speaking, I know when I speak, I like to have materials that I pass out. So I also work with a lot of other photographers or other clients that sometimes need short run materials for their speaking engagements. So consider that as well. As far as short run, you may not need 150 or 300 things to pass out. You may just need 10 or you may need 20. So that's something that we also do. We do flyers, postcards, the types of pamphlets that you see right behind me, things like that, which are half letter. So lots of different things. And again, we specialize in short run printing. So there's no need to invest in 5,000 that you're just going to pitch later. So keep that in mind. So we call our marketing materials and our greeting card options too.
Another one. There you go, Miguel. Perfect. All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with us?
So I think right now is kind of my lull. we've got some upcoming things that are happening, but we haven't quite worked out all the details yet. So those that information is forthcoming. We're excited to share some new products that are coming out, new features through our ordering system, things like that. But stay tuned because we've got those coming up here pretty soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Amanda, and thank you for all that you're doing for us and your team that you've put together. Um, we can tell that you guys are awesome, that you love what you're doing, and that you love helping us to love what we're doing.
Speaking of team, that is an announcement I should make. We are looking to grow our team. So if you or anybody you know might be interested in becoming part of our team, we also have full time and part time positions. So help spread the word because we're always looking for amazing team members that are going to help to uh, spread the word about what we do as well as what we love, which is printing and educating individuals like yourselves on what the power of a print can do for your business or for your legacy as a person. We do quite a bit, so we're always looking for really great team members. And like I said, we are expanding our team. So if anybody's interested or if you know somebody, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Digital Pro Lab, or you can email me directly at amanda@digitalprolab.com.
Very good. So, if you guys are looking for some extra work, Amanda is looking to work with you. So good. I hope you find some amazing people to work with, Amanda. And again, thank you for everything that you're doing.
You're welcome. You too. Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys, we have some, you know, wonderful resources, wonderful people that help us as creatives. Continue to help yourself by continuing to study, continuing to watch shows like the Portrait Profit Show and others that are out there. When you uplift yourself, you are uplifting others. You are helping others to be all they can be, to because they're going to see what it is that you do and they're going to be influenced by those things that they find good. Thank you for what you're doing. Now, I want to one more time remind you I have a class that I definitely recommend coming up called the E3 Price List and Sales System. This comes very highly recommended. It's one of my larger programs. This one takes 9 weeks to complete. It is intense. It's for those who want to create an income with photography. Not get by, not scrape by, not become rich. By the way, you guys who answer that question when I ask how much do you want to make and you say, well, I don't want to become rich. Come on. That tells me that's a red flag for me. I know that you haven't thought the question through. You haven't gotten to the point where you're planning, but it's also a good thing because I now know where to start. But the goal in photography is not to become rich. None of us have that as a goal. So it doesn't make any sense to answer that way. But we do need to think about what it is that we're doing. We do need to focus. And this class causes you to focus. It may be difficult. It is. But you're going to love it. You know that teacher that you had in school who was tough, but you loved that teacher? That's this class. You can ask people who have taken it before. That's what they'll say. It was tough, but it was worth it, and I'm so glad I did it. You're going to see the business side of photography in a totally different way, and you're going to be able to benefit from it, and your clients will too. They appreciate this. They see you as legit when you are serious about the business side as well as the photography side. I definitely have come across. Last week, I had someone reach out to me asking, I don't photograph weddings anymore. I used to. They asked me if I knew someone in a different town, and I did, for photography. But they said, I don't want, they said kind of like what I say, this is a one-time event. I don't want the low-end photographer who's just trying to get a little extra money, who doesn't understand the business of photography, that they're in a business. I don't want to work with that person. This is my wedding. This is serious. So can you please recommend someone who's over $2,000? I don't even want to talk to someone under $2,000. Guys, those people are out there. And if you're charging less than $2,000 for a wedding, I can actually mathematically prove that you are losing money. Now, that assumes that you're not cutting any corners. But I guarantee you there are people that will judge you by your low price and it won't work with you. They won't call you. There'll be no interaction at all. So you won't even feel that impact. You won't know it exists. The only way you'll know it exists is when you have prices that actually do cause you to become the business owner that you should be, both for you and your clients, by the way. This is beneficial to them. And I'll be proving it. And it'll be an eye opener for you. There's so much in this class. You owe it to yourself at least to find out what it's about. So go to landersphotoschool.com, landersphotoschool.com, and click on business side. It's down that left side. Click on business options and then click on E3 to get a little bit more information. It does require an interview, but the interview's fun. You'll enjoy the interview. But I want to make sure that the people that are in the class are going to be the type of people who finish. Because there's all different types of people out there, and not everybody finish. Not everyone finishes what they start. This is important in this one. That's what causes you to be successful. It's finishing what you started. So I encourage you to look at the E3 price list and sales system. Today we've been talking about the 4 steps to effective speaking. And I hope you've received at least something today that helps you to become stronger, to become more confident. Because in doing that for yourself, your clients see that in you. It's a win-win. And you want to enter everything you do, of course, with a win-win mindset. They win, you win. Define what it is you want for your win and help them get what they would like to have as their win. So I want to remind you that next week is at 6:30. Put that on your calendar, please. And we'll see you at 6:30. And we'll be talking about a similar subject to today, but we'll be asking questions of 3 local photographers and how they deal with their anxiety, how they deal with talking with their clients. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography through helpful information, step-by-step processes, and action steps that will help you with the struggles you deal with now so that you are constantly realigned to the success you deserve. Be here every Monday to experience a different way of looking at the business side of photography. And thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Profit Show. Bye for now.